did up to the inside of the box on the first video, and now we've got the lid mounted in the chuck on the tenon that I turned originally. Now there are two ways of making the tenon, because it's going to fit inside the mortise of the box. You can either use compasses like so, or a set of dividers, making sure that it is bigger than you need, because you can always take more wood off, but you can't put wood on. Now if you use this method, all you do is present the left leg to the wood. Don't engage the right leg, otherwise it'll spin like so, and eyeball it, and when the lines match up, just there, a little bit over. Okay, so the outside line is around there, so I'll just make a mark with a pencil on the outermost, just there, and we want to creep up on that now to make the tenon. And always you can fit the body to it. Now the decision is yours whether you want to have a tight fitting lid or a not so tight fitting lid. Now for this I like to use the round skew. It's not important, not absolutely essential to do that, but that's what I like to do. And bearing in mind that this is slightly bigger than we need. So don't take the full depth of your tenon to begin with, to leave you a little bit to play with. So we just go to there, turn off, and it's obviously too big. And now it's a case of just taking up to the line, and that's going to be too much as well, but it doesn't matter. And this is the sort of time consuming bit, if you like. A little bit more, and I'm doing this and not cutting this because it just gives you an idea. We're not in a race. There's absolutely no advantage of rushing. And the reason I like to use the round skew on this is it gives a nice square shoulder, which is what you want. Nearly there. You want it quite tight to begin with, which will become evident later on. Just a little bit. Now we've virtually got a fit there, so I take a little bit more down to that line there. And just a little chamfer on the edge. Yeah, just a slight bit more, literally a micro. Now that's a nice tight fit. Okay, it's a pot fit. Now the thing is, when you're sanding or whatever, if you sand that tenon, obviously only a slight amount, it's going to get looser. So that to me is ideal. So now I'm going to decide what thickness of tenon I want. It doesn't have to be that wide, so I'm just going to make a cut here in the tenon. So that gives me something to work to. Bearing in mind this is the inside of the box, so now I'm going to take my 3/8 spindle gouge, drop it to rest slightly, and just hollow that out basically. And this, what I've done here, allows me to have a register against, and it also means that I've got a nice straight piece on the inside of the tenon. Now bearing in mind you've got the tenon on the other side of this piece here, which is going to form part of the lid, but we won't be using all that. So all you're doing is hollowing or taking out to where you feel you want it to go. And all you're doing there is basically hollowing out a little bowl. I just increased the speed a bit there, it was a little bit low. Just nice gentle cuts. Now the thing is here, this dimension is going to be reduced because we're going to be attaching this to the body in a minute to get the final dimension, the final shape. Maybe one more pass. No, you're not restricted to any shape in there. You can have exactly what you want. That's a nice size for the tenon, gives it a bit of stability. We're not looking for a very thin, fine box here. I'm just going to take one more. There we go. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm not going to take any more off. So now I'm going to sand it, and then I will sand. I won't touch the tenon because I want it to be exactly the same dimensions it is now. So I'm just going to sand the inside. So what I shall do now, it'll take me about 10 minutes. I'll sand up to 240. Hampshire sheen, and I'll come back when I'm doing that and I'll tell you how long that took me to do. So I've sanded to 240, applied sanding sealer, Hampshire sheen. I'm just going to polish up the Hampshire sheen. All remains to do now is just buff this up, and I suppose it took me has taken me about 15 minutes in total to finish the inside. Okay, so that's the inside of the lid finished, and we haven't reduced the size of the tenon at all. Still a nice snug fit. Okay, so now we've got to do the final shaping. So I'm going to put the body of the box back into the chuck, and this means I can finish shaping the lid and the body to exactly as I want it. That's fine. Now, the whole idea of having a firm fit is that I can plonk that on there like so. Let's line up the grain so that we know what it's going to look like. And this, as I said, is the advantage of having a straight grained piece of wood, because however large your parting off line is, you'll still get the grain to line up. Never work with dogs and grain, animals and grain and kids. There we go. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is to just bring up the tailstock for a little bit of support. Nothing major, just to stop the lid popping off, which it shouldn't do anyway. Don't forget you've got that indent there, so you're going to have to leave a little bit of a go down below there, but we know how much we can do on that. So I'll go to the overhead camera now, and we can then see what I'm doing. So what I aim to do now is to finish the shaping, and the reason I'm doing it like this is I can blend everything in. It's only going to be a small amount of shaping. I'm not going to have anything too stylish, as it were, because the whole idea of this video is to show you the mechanics behind turning a box. Okay, so again, I'll take my 1/2 inch spindle gouge now. You could take a 3/8 bowl gouge if you haven't got a 1/2 inch, and literally all we're going to do now is to just blend all this in. Give it some shape. And the body. A bit more speed here. Now I can do whatever shape I like. I'm just going for a little bit of a taper. Let's get rid of this bit of wood here. Okay, that's going to be my part off line there. So we're just going to bring that down ever so slightly. Just get the curve to start there. Just lifting the handle. Bringing it round. Yeah, I quite like that. So we'll bring the top around now. A bit proud there. Okay, get rid of the excess wood. around there a little bit more, just on here. Nice light cut to get the cut. Yep, I like that. Yep, I reckon that's just about it. So, there's one more from here. Yep, quite like that. So now to give this a little bit more stability, I'm just going to use some masking tape and make sure that when you wrap that round that you do it this way, so in other words away from you, so that the final edge is against the travel, so that'll stop it unraveling, and that will allow me to work on this with light cuts. So again, I'll just take my spindle gouge and work on that. You could of course make that flat there and make it capable of accepting a finial. Just see, slight little bit there. Just come out here a little bit more. Nice light cuts. I like that shape. Yep, that'll do. It'll sand out nicely. So that is one of the methods of being able to just get it all nice and neat, all wrapping up. So what we'll do now is take the tape off, and then what I'll do is sand him up, and that final sanding will make it really nice and flush. So take off the tape, and there we got the shape there now. So what I'm going to do is sand this up now, and then we'll get the final end shape at the end, at the bottom, and then part him off, and then it'll be done. So I'll come back when I've done the sanding. Again, I'll let you know how long that takes, because you don't want to watch me sanding. So I've sanded to 240, applied one coat of Hampshire Sheen pre-thin sanding sealer, True Grit, and one coat of Hampshire Sheen, and now I'm just going to buff that up. and apart from parting off, the job will be done. There you go. I'll just go to the overhead just so that you can see the grain match. All matches up nicely. And again, I'll reiterate the importance of having a straight grained wood, which allows you a slightly wider parting cut on the lid, and that grain will match up really nicely. Okay, so when parting off, don't forget to make a slight undercut so that it sits nicely on the edges. And we don't want it too thin because obviously it's a box, we want it to stay stable. So I think just about there. And your relief cut. And the thing is, when you're parting off, don't have the RPM too high, because as I say, you can burn. And when you get to the end of the cut, nice light cuts to reduce any tear out. There you go. When I parted off, there was a little nub on the bottom there which I've taken off with the chisel. All that I need to do now is just give it a quick sand and put a finish on. I won't do that in the interests of time. I will reiterate once again, when you are new to box turning and you want the grain to line up as near as possible, try and get a straight parallel grain so that where the width of your part, when you part off the lid, is not as critical, and there's more chance of the grain lining up like it does here. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that, and it's given you a few indicators on how to turn a box. This is only one way. There are many different ways of turning boxes, and everybody has their own preference once they get into it. A quick mention as well for Steve Jones, the Scoopmaster. Don't forget, in August, a long way off, but he's doing this charity walk for the Charity Mind with his wife Jane and daughter Kirsty. I've got links in the description below on the video to various channels for Steve, and go ahead and support him there too if you can, because it's a very good charity, and he's already smashed his target of £3,000, so hopefully by August it'll be well over that. Well, thank you very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Cheers now.